Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Yay. Ah. Yay. Okay. Whew. I'm sorry. Everything has been extra slow today on my computer, but also mostly in my brain. Both things are true. Good morning, Kim. Thick strip was last night. Me and Kim were both like, ugh. You have your clip pillow. Yes. Yes, clip pillow. Kim made that. You guys, Kim is an artist. Oh yeah. Hi everybody. Oh my gosh, and Savannah's here. I'm so excited to see everyone. I feel like we have not been together in a long time. It's so good to see everybody. Did folks have who did the ritual? Just raise your hand. Lauryn did, April did, Lara did. Nice. Okay, cool. Oh, Mishka did. Nice. And who has just in general been like feeling the Scorpio full moon-ness of life? Yeah, pretty much all. Yes. Interesting. Hi. Yay. Oh my gosh, so many of us tonight. I'm so excited. Let's start with some breathing. How about that? Let's just take a few deep breaths and get here. Yay. Oh, Nancy's here. Oh my God. We are legion tonight. Oh my goodness. Yay. So there's a lot of us, but I would love really quick before we start hot seat, if we could literally just do like a 2-sentence check-in. I know we all like to like give each other all of the update, but a super quick check-in. Just like, let's see, let me be really directed then in what I want, if I want it to be succinct. Let's go with a recent win, like something good that's going on, and something that you are going to tackle this week. How about that? So, and sharp, like not a context story behind it, but like, here's one thing that happened that's good. Here's one thing I'm going to tackle this week because there's so many of us and we have a hot seat tonight. So let's go alphabetical. Carolyn first.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
A win is that I've started dancing with my friends again. And the thing I tackle this week is I have a big work project very clear, and so I'm going to work on that.
Awesome. Thank you. Nancy. Nope. Yes, there you go.
Oh, yes. Hi. Okay. Hey. Yeah. So I'm in my car and I'm like, I don't know how this works, but hi.
Hi.
So when just like have a really nice, steady, full schedule with personal training clients and classes, and I love it.
Yay.
Yay. And the thing I'm going to tackle this week is getting my car in for service.
Good. Excellent. Love that. April.
Hey, so a win I had this week was being more present with you guys and sharing some things. And something I'm going to tackle this week is there's so many things. I'm going to practice using my voice. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
I love that. Avery.
Yeah. Hi. So my win actually starts this week. I got a new position in my job, so I get to finally start that. And then I think for me to tackle this week is probably getting my stuff ready for vacation.
Yeah, vacation. Love that. Jamie.
So I had a really good day at the metaphysical fair that I vended at yesterday is my win. And then my tackle is to catch up on my homework. Damn it. So yeah.
Excellent. And Juliet.
I actually just posted my wins, so you guys can read them in detail there. One was job related, and the other was dance related, because Carolyn actually was over at my house dancing earlier. So that's the wins for now. They're really pretty big ones, actually. The things I'm going to tackle actually is getting my home to the point where, while I'm working for these 4 weeks pretty hard on this new project, that it can still be a set back to one and food and all of that good stuff. So kind of prepping for the upcoming really busy season moment.
Awesome. Kimberly. I'm trying to unmute you and it won't let me.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes.
Okay. I officially launched my website. I finally got it up, but this week I have to work on all the bugs that I have to fix with the website because I can't post content right now. So yeah, fixing it, but it's done. It's out there.
Yay. Lara.
So my win probably was to sit down and try to express feelings more between me and my husband, and expressing my frustration about being asked to come back from vacation early this week to my boss. So what I need to tackle this week is to follow through and start back to work and try to express to my coworkers how
I've got it. Let's see. When is this past week has been chaos, but I've stayed up on top of it. This week I'm going to be tackling the art of slowing down. So, and the universe has told me to do so by spraining my ankle. So that's that.
Hey all. So win for this week is I signed up for a few more trainings that I've been wanting to do. So those are booked now. And then something that I'm working on is selecting images for a portfolio review this Friday.
Win for this week is continuing to make some pretty big life changes into habit with very little issue, which is awesome. And one thing I will do this week is to try to get through my performance review at work with grace and poise. Thanks.
Okay. Hi. Should I answer the thing? Yeah. So when oddly, my boss improvisationally in the middle of my performance review was like, "Hey, do you like this? Like, or would you rather be doing other stuff?" Which was like it was a win to even be asked, but I was so thrown off, which relates to my hot seat, that I didn't quite know how to answer. But that feels like a win, and I'm gonna work on the like miscellaneous clothes KonMari piles that I'm trying to get through. So I'm now in like random shit, and that'll be fun. So should I just go into the thing? Yeah. So I saw the Scorpio moon ritual and the question at the end, and my first thought was, oh, I probably need that for the latter part of the question of like, because I don't know what my limiting belief is. And then I did the ritual, and I figured out some, and having done the ritual, I want to stay true to the fact that those are no longer going to be my issues. But I've still felt at the end of it like I want to, part of what I'm working on is getting clear messages about what I want. And I was like, I want to share this with the group and take up space and name it and also have accountability. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm guessing it would be good to like share a bit about the limiting belief. I'm now that I'm in it, I'm stumped about how to go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was like, how do I do that? All right, cool. Thank you. It's total sci-fi. I love it. So okay, what I discovered were really three beliefs that I had been, past Lauryn, had been carrying around, and I'm not carrying around anymore as of a few hours ago. And so basically what they are I realized I had been carrying around just an ingrained belief of like the fact that I must consider other people first, and not in a charitable way, just like a codependent way that still is a part of my wiring, was still a part of my wiring until a little bit ago. That things will be difficult. I realized as I was writing that past me had really felt like so many things were just too difficult to do or to like worry about. And I realized that's not necessarily true. Things do not have to be difficult, and they also, like you shared in one of the things that I watched recently, because I've been watching a lot, they're all starting to swish together, but that it doesn't necessarily have to take forever for these changes to happen, which I think I have in the past believed. And then finally, what it's related to, I think, both of those, but that I don't have the power, but that someone else does. And so I felt previously like those things were kind of just a part of life. And I don't think I had previously been really aware how much they all still were. But what I found is that part of why I was having a hard time even finding the limiting belief is because I have felt very disconnected from my intuition, and kind of frustrated because I feel like I've been working on that for a minute, but I had been recently feeling disconnected from it. And so it was making it hard for me to make decisions, and all of that is really what I found are getting in the way of me even knowing what I want. Am I making sense? Okay. So this is really about me turning on that intuition and getting shit out of the way to be able to listen. And I think it's important for me to name, because I'm not used to talking about this, but in my new reality, it's going to be something that is easier. But I grew up in an alcoholic home, and so the codependency piece like makes sense. But a part of this that I've started to consider today is maybe past Lauryn, like past Lauryn, has struggled with the intuition part, because it was not super safe for me to know and speak what my reality was as like a little kid, because this was like before I was 3, so I don't have any memory of it. And so I just felt like I needed to start talking about that and saying, hey, this is something that past Lauryn has struggled with, and I am no longer interested in carrying it into the future. So I think why I also wanted the floor was to just reinforce ways to do that, because I want that badly and it feels like vital right now. And also there's a part of me that remembers those past beliefs and fears, and so reinforcing it with other people's thoughts and what's worked for them, advice, feels really solidifying. Yeah.
Before I open the floor to questions, I just want to ask a question, which is kind of to ping on where you started.
Okay.
Do you want to state for us, or if you can in a clear way,
Mm-hmm.
your new timeline, this new reality that you're occupying?
Yes.
Beyond letting those old ways go,
mm-hmm.
What is the new mode that you're claiming?
Okay. The new mode that I am claiming is that it is easy and valuable for me to be connected to what I want, clearly know it, and have the power to be able to take action on it. Yeah.
Awesome. Anyone have a question? A clarifying question for Lauryn? Something you need to know? Kim has a question. Let me see if it'll let me unmute you. Yes.
Oh, can you hear me? Can you just reiterate what it was in the past? Sorry, I just need a little bit more clarification. What was in the past that is holding you back from what you're wanting?
Yes. It all comes down to not being able to know what I want. That has been something that's been a struggle in the past, but the beliefs that kind of underlaid that were that I had to consider other people first, that things that I want will be difficult, and that I don't have the power, someone else does. Does that make sense? How those were just, I realized that I was stuck, and this is what kind of showed up as, oh, this is part of what's like even getting in the way of me knowing what I wanted.
Thank you. Other questions? Shannon, I keep thinking you're raising your hand and it's your cat's tail. I just see this little like. Okay, so if not questions, does anyone have something they want to share with Lauryn, support or advice? Okay, well, I have a thought. Surprise, surprise, bitch, you always have a thought. No, it's interesting. I feel like we're really aligned. And Jamie, you'll hear kind of a recap of this because I talked about it a little bit in Body Love Lab today. I've just been thinking and working a lot on limiting beliefs and mindset and over the past couple weeks and really digging in to tracking them and just kind of this idea that like, okay, so I'm going to nerd out a little bit, like thinking about our limiting beliefs as being programs. And I talk about that a lot as being, it's our programming. But when you really think about programming from a computer sense, a computing sense, when you are coding something, things have to follow a set of rules, right? Or even like for my gamers in the house, if you are in a gaming universe, the universe is beholden to a set of rules and you can't stray from that, right? Like if we are in a space story, you can't all of a sudden like jump to this other thing. Like you can't occupy an alternate universe. Like we have to be beholden to the rules of space. You can't say that you like walked out of the spaceship and onto solid ground. We're in space. It doesn't work. There's rules. But same thing also in computing, right? Like when I think about, I used to do some web design, a lot of websites, I know this is nerdy, but just bear with me, are governed by style sheets, right? So a style sheet means I make one set of rules and the whole website follows this set. Like if there are fonts or if there are words, they are always this font. If there's a heading, it's always this size. It prevents me from having to reiterate the rule over and over again. I only write the rule once, and then it applies to everything. It's called a cascading style sheet. The rule cascades across all of the pages. We operate like this. And I've just really been thinking about this, that like so often we have the way that we're talking to ourselves and the way that we're behaving, but underneath there's a rule or a set of rules stemming from the belief about what's possible for us and what the universe is that we occupy. What are the rules of the world? They are mostly invisible to us because first of all, they're formed when we're really, really little. And so we grow up with confirmation bias. We believe the world works this way. We see evidence that the world works this way. We take the evidence that the world works this way to reinforce our story and our belief. We ignore, dismiss, or don't even see evidence to the contrary. It's just not in our purview. Or we relate to evidence to the contrary as an anomaly and not as a potential other rule. There's nowhere that this is more apparent to me than like if you travel to a really foreign culture. Like if you go somewhere where you have extreme culture shock, then you're like, oh, I have all of these ways of interacting and being that are based on how I think the world works, but how I think the world works is governed by my circumstances. And there are other places where people have none of the rules that I have, right? This can also be true, traveling. It can also be true in financial groups. If you've ever found yourself in a group full of people who occupy a very different financial reality than you, like if you've been around a room of super rich people where you're like, y'all live in a whole different reality than I live in. This is fascinating. Or if you've been like in like different sexual groups, like if you've ever been to like certain kinds of like bondage or swingers parties or anything like that, where you're like, whoa, you guys occupy this whole different reality than all of these other people that I know, right? So sometimes we're abruptly confronted with the idea that there's a whole other set of rules that govern whole other sets of realities that are happening parallel to and simultaneously to ours that we don't even know are happening, right? There's literal parallel universes Is this making sense? Okay. So the idea that I've been playing with is just catching myself all the time, making choices, saying things, doing things, and trying to ask myself, what is the set of rules that's governing this choice? And what belief is underneath that set of rules? So what started me thinking about this was money, was thinking about like ways that I interact with spending money. That there's a set of financial rules that I follow that are based in some beliefs that are about not enoughness, right? They're based in some beliefs that money is a scarce resource, that money is always tight, that there is only ever just enough to get by, but never more, that money is stressful. That is a belief that governs tons of rules that I make for myself about like what I buy for myself, what kinds of groceries I shop for, how I shop for clothes, how I take care of my health, how I take care of my dog. Like I have this huge list of rules that all stems from this like one set of beliefs about what money is. And when we kind of scale back through the rules to the belief, then we get to have the fun thing of like, where did I learn this belief? Is this objectively true? What are potential other beliefs? Like, then you get to look around and be like, what do other people believe about money? What rules do those people have about money based on that set of beliefs? And how do those rules govern how they spend and earn? That's different from me. Would I rather? Right? If I get to choose what the belief is and what the rules are that I'm playing by, would I rather have some of what they have? Would I rather change mine, or am I happy with the ones that I have? And then to run it through, are these aligned with my values, or are these just inherited? And if they're not aligned with my values, what would be more value aligned? And how can I start to replace the belief? If I were to believe blah, 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 what would the new rules be? Like if I believed that money was an abundant resource, which logically I do, right? Emotionally, I may not feel that way right now because I have some programming that I'm working through. But if my belief was money is an abundant resource, it is constant, it's everywhere, I'm surrounded by it, there are gazillions of dollars in circulation in the world economy, it's literally everywhere. And that tapping into the stream of it is equally possible for me as it is for anyone. And that I could have more, and that it is possible for me to earn beyond only just enough to pay my bills. Then what would my new rules be? If that was the belief that was foundational, how would I act? How would I interact? How would I spend? How would I save? Where would I shop for groceries? Like down to the minutest of details. And that it's a kind of fun game with nearly everything to look not just at the limiting belief, but like what are the rules of this belief and how do those rules govern my behavior? Are those rules I'm comfortable breaking or letting go of? Do I need to still follow those rules? It made perfect sense that little Lauryn had to follow the rules of what other people need comes first because it was for survival, right? And adult Lauryn doesn't have to follow those rules to survive. So it's really cool to see what the belief is, but also to then start to think about like, okay, if I change the belief, now that I've changed the belief, I get to set forth new rules to follow. Because you know what, I feel like, it's a missing piece of the limiting belief conversation. People are like, oh yeah, you rewrite the belief. And you're like, yeah, but I have all these behaviors left, right? Limiting beliefs translate directly to how we do shit. So in this new world where you are safe to feel your feelings, to own your desires, to center your own desires in your life, there is also a whole new set of rules that govern your reality. And that's pretty fucking exciting. So it might be cool to like do some if then. If this is the new belief, then these are the new rules. If these are the new rules, then these are the new behaviors that I get to live into. That might help the quantum leap feel more solid. Because again, to be sci-fi, if we timeline jumped, if you time traveled from like 1840, where you would have a whole different set of rules and customs that you had to abide by, and then the timeline jumped and now you're in 2020, then you have to change all of your rules and customs to go with the new story. And I think that's what just happened. Like, you jumped. Back to the Future.
Love that. That's awesome.
Yay. Does anyone else have anything that they want to? Yeah, Kim has something.
Yeah, it's literally actually, you got me thinking, Sarah, like riffing off of what you're saying. Maybe some tools would be to cite specific examples in the past and change the scenario. And then you have a new set of actual actions that you can take when these situations arise, which is something I could do for myself. So, yeah, you make a very good point, Sarah. Really smart.
Sci-fi answer.
It's the best.
Anybody else? No? Okay, cool. Well, I mean, we might actually end at 6 tonight. But Lauryn, do you feel complete? Do you have stuff to play with?
Yes, I think I'm gonna have to watch it again to get everything, because I was taking it all in and I want to get it. And yeah, that gives me some things to play with.
Yay.
Because that yeah, it felt like fog, and I wanted it to feel like hard matter. Like, now that I'm in this new reality, what does it feel like? Yeah, so that's more specific. Thanks.
I love it. Your theme song for the week is New Rules by Dua Lipa.
I don't know it.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, let me just pull some cards for us then for the week ahead, for the Scorpio full moon. Also, since I have you guys captive while I shuffle these cards, I want to ask you how you feel about something. I've been in and you guys know, I'm like doing this business coaching program, and it's really cool. Like, I really like it. It's a lot of work, but she's like kicking my butt in a really good way and making me think about my business in a different way. And I realized that sometimes it's been difficult for me to sell one-on-one coaching because I have a hard time explaining to people what the process is. Like, when it's a group coaching program, I know what I'm like, it starts on this day, it ends on this day, we're doing this, and this, it's this many calls, it's blah, 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 blah. With coaching, I know, like, we're going to talk once a week for 90 minutes to 2 hours. You have tech support in between. You can contact me. But I do something so different with every client because it depends on what they're working on. Like, the way that I'm going to coach someone through healing trauma and like getting into embodiment is different than the way I'm going to coach someone through starting a new business. And like, you know, I might use breath work, we might use tapping, we might use tarot, but if it's like if it's all structure and accountability, it's going to be totally different than that. So sometimes I have a hard time, and so I end up being wishy-washy, and I'm like, we're just going to do whatever you want. I don't know, it's like based on you. I have it worded better than that on my website. It says that like coaching is a co-created relationship, and these are the different tools I bring to the table, but that every coaching relationship is unique. But one of the things that she has us really hone in on is having kind of a trademarked process so that you can tell people, like, this is the process that I take you through and this is why it works. And And what I came to in a meditation, because everything always comes to me in meditation, thank God. Let me see if I have it. Is that no matter what I'm doing, I really feel like everything comes down essentially to alignment. Like, I feel like when we're aligned, things happen, right? Like when what you want is aligned with your beliefs about what's possible, it's easy to align it with your behavior, and then it's easy to get results. So if you're not getting results, you can usually look back and see something is out of whack. And to me, I came up with, I've been toying with the idea of calling it the alignment quad, but it's aligned mind, aligned spirit, aligned body, aligned action. So aligned mind gets into mindset stuff, limiting beliefs, old stories, all of the programming stuff about what you're telling yourself, how you're talking to yourself. Also, I think an aligned mind comes into some, and this is a mind-body crossover, but like fight or flight and anxiety patterns, like if you're like thinking yourself in circles and your mind isn't able to focus. Aligned spirit is the energetic component, like and that gets into how is your vibe, right? Like if you have this, you think that you're positive thinking, but you feel really off, or your relationships are in disarray, or you are not tuned into your intuition, you're not able to hear your own inner source, your higher source, those things are aligned spirit. You don't believe that you're held and guided and that things work out. It's really hard to trust enough to make things happen if you don't feel like you're okay. And I think that's an aligned spirit. Okay, Shannon, thank you. Aligned body. It gets into stuff about like body work, emotions, embodiment practice, healing trauma, movement, and sensuality. All of those things are in the aligned body category. And then aligned action is, are you following, like once those three things are in line, we should be seeing that it's easier for you to get over procrastinating and like being direct and taking the actions that you need to take to see things happen. But I also think we can work backwards from all of those. Like I can start with someone who's like, I am a terrible procrastinator, and pretty quickly figure out where the lack of alignment is, right? Well, I'm a terrible procrastinator because I have really deep perfectionism and I put all of this pressure on myself, and that gives me anxiety, and I feel completely disconnected from the idea that shit works out for me. So I don't want to start anything. I'm like, got it. Like, so my idea was that I have to tighten up how I word it, but that no matter who I'm coaching, that we're looking at your life through the lens of this alignment quad and figuring out where you're misaligned. Does that make sense? The other thing about it that I think is really cool is that it opens me up. So I had this idea of doing a program called the Life Aligned Boot Camp, where it was a 4-month program where we do 1 month for each component of the quad and kind of dig in. But it also opens up the idea of doing that every program I do fits into one of the areas of the quad. So if I do something that's a sensual movement program, that is an aligned body product. And if I do like a mindset course, that's an aligned mind product. And if I do like a build your morning practice daily meditation thing, that's an aligned spirit product. So anything I do can kind of fit into the quad. Does that make sense? Okay, I see nods. Okay, sweet. I'm so glad. Because I was sitting there and I was like, I think this is cool. Maybe I made this more complicated. Okay, good. Juliet has a thing. Wait, I can't hear you.
Yeah, if you don't mind, just a quick feedback on that. Yes, on everything that you're saying. And what you had said at the beginning, I'm just kind of repeating back. What you had said at the beginning is I always took these different flows based off if it's trauma, if it's business or whatever. Every aspect of what you're talking about, all of those alignments can, and each of those teachings fit, whether or not it's a business coach situation or a personal trauma or whatever else. So the way you're looking at it is, hate to say it this way, completely aligned with being able, like it's like got a project flow kind of thing at the same time. You're going to be able to do logical minds and more spiritual, emotional, creative, you know, all within that same thing. And it's nice and simple and sweet and to the point. You're going to be able to bullet point it, boom, 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 boom. So it's going to be nice and clear.
Yay. Also,
I love it.
A nerdy thing I learned this week. So if something is doubled, it's squared. If something is to the power of 3, it's cubed. There is no cute name for something to the power of 4. I know. I spent so much time looking it up, and they're like, there are names for it, but they don't, in math, you don't call it that. It's just to the power. You just start saying to the power of.
To the 4th.
Yeah, you say to the 4th or whatever. And I was just like, I almost want there to be 3 so I could call it an alignment cube, but it's not. There's definitely 4 of them. All right. So, thank you guys for listening to my off topic. No, I'll make it on topic for the Scorpio new moon. I will say in my past reality, I had difficulty explaining what I do. In my current reality, I know exactly what the fuck I do. I alignment quad. I quad. Isn't that like a jet ski? Okay. Quad. Sorry, I'm a dork. I love you guys. I love it. So we have interesting cards. We have a lot of inversions happening right now. But our first one is not inverted, and it's where we're at right now, and it is friendliness. We're friends. Makes me think of Anchorman. We're friends, sharing a moment, having a laugh. Just let it happen. Okay. The branches of these 2 flowering trees are intertwined. Their fallen petals blend together on the ground in beautiful colors. It is as if heaven and earth are bridged by love, but they stand individual, each rooted in the soil by their own connection with the earth. In this way, they represent the essence of true friends, mature, easy with each other, natural. There is no urgency about their connection, no neediness, no desire to change the other into something else. I do feel like that's what our group is like. We all just really like each other as we are. We have no agenda. We don't want to change each other. It's like really the best community on earth. This card indicates a readiness to enter into this quality of friendliness. In this passage, you may notice that you're no longer interested in all kinds of dramas and romances that other people are engaged in. This is not a loss. It is the birth of a higher, more loving quality born out of the fullness of experience. It is a birth of love that is truly unconditional without expectations or demands. So, I think that that's where we are, but it also may just be like as the quality of the work we're doing is deepening, that we're all probably realizing across the board in our life that there's a lot of bullshit and drama and like difficulty that we're just not interested in. And I think that's great. Is it dinner time? Can I finish my conversation? Okay. No, he says. So the next thing that came up is intensity, but it came up inverted. So what I'm seeing is that the thing that may be blocking us, if we're feeling blocked, the intensity card is about being singularly focused, about bringing your full presence and attention to the thing that you're working on right now. So what it's suggesting to me is we may be scattering our energy, trying to do too many things at once, or while we are doing things, we're not being emotionally and mentally present. We're like thinking about the next thing. And that is blocking our ability to not take place in the drama because we are also being the drama by being scattered. And then I think these other two are kind of why. So the next one that came up is existence, which is about giving yourself time and space to just be present with everything, to be part of everything, to understand that you are an essential part of the whole without having to do anything. You just are. So it says, home is not a physical place in the outside world, but an inner quality of relaxation and acceptance. The stars, rocks, trees, flowers, fish, and birds are all our brothers and sisters in the dance of life. Human beings tend to forget this as we pursue our own private agendas and believe we must fight to get what we need. But ultimately, our sense of separateness is just an illusion, manufactured by the narrow preoccupations of the mind. Now is the time to look at whether you are allowing yourself to receive the extraordinary gift of feeling at home wherever you are. If you are, be sure to take the time to savor it so that it can deepen and remain with you. If, on the other hand, you've been feeling like the world is out to get you, it's time to take a break. Go outside and look at the stars. Oh, and I just love this part, so I want to read it to you. You are not accidental. Existence needs you. Without you, something will be missing in existence and nobody can replace it. That is what gives you dignity, that the whole of existence would miss you. The stars and sun and moon, the trees and birds and earth, everything in the universe would feel a small place is vacant which cannot be filled by anyone except you. This gives you a tremendous joy, a fulfillment that you are related to existence and existence cares for you. Once you are clear on that, you can feel tremendous love falling on you from all directions. I love that. Hey, you are part of existence, but you're like a really loud part. What? I just fed you. Oh my gosh. So, here. It's right here. That's yours. Okay. On days when I have Body Love Lab and this, I spend a lot of time on the phone, and I think he's just over it. He's just like, you have not paid any attention to me. So part of the reason we are having difficulty with focusing and being directly targeted at one thing at a time is that we are not giving ourselves time to be present. Maybe feeling like we have to do lots of stuff or overperform to be valuable, as opposed to the idea that like it's okay for us to slow down, for us to do only one thing at a time. Yes, for us to focus and direct our energy and say no when we need to say no. I think that is what's coming up there. And then the last one that also came up inverted, and I'll probably draw a clarifier, is moment to moment, which is another card that's very much about being present. This card challenges us to move away from preoccupations with other spaces and other times. Stay alert to what is happening in the here and now. Life is a great ocean in which you can play if you drop all your judgments and preferences and the attachment to the details of your long-term plan. Be available to what comes your way as it comes. Don't worry if you stumble or fall. Just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and have a good laugh and carry on. The past is no more and the future is not yet. Both are unnecessarily moving in directions which don't exist. One used to exist but no longer, and one has not even started to exist. The only right person is the one who lives moment to moment, whose arrow is directed to the moment, who is always here and now. Wherever he is, his whole consciousness, his whole being is involved in the reality of here and now. That is the only right direction. So all of it, like every card is just like, we need to just be present with what's happening right now and not be super stressed about either what happened before or what we're going to do next. The place where we can be most effective agents of change in our life is now. Damn, the cards are not playing with us. It was just inverted silence. It's like, meditate, sit down, be quiet, meditate, listen to yourself. Okay, we hear you. Geez, cards. Thanks. We got you. So it's like, what more clarification do you need? There is nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. The quality of your inner silence permeates everything you do. It might make some people uncomfortable, accustomed as they are to all of the noise and activity of the world. Never mind. Seek out those who can resonate with your silence or enjoy being alone. Now is the time to come home to yourself. The understanding and insights that come to you in these moments will be manifested later on in a more outgoing phase of your life. Yeah, okay. That was the clarification. It was like, there is no clarification. We really mean it. Just be still, be stiller. Yeah. Okay. We are ready to enter a time where we're less wrapped up in drama and preoccupation. And the only thing that may be blocking us from entering that is not being present, grounded, focused, and attending to what's just right in front of us right now. Something that's just coming up for me, I think, is that, especially knowing all of us, as we start to enter the new, I think it's really easy for a lot of us in this group, as the high functioning bitches we are, to panic about the future because we don't like the idea that we don't know where something is heading. And stepping into the new inherently means we don't know where shit is heading. And so I think that one of the things that's coming up, especially with the silence card and asking us to like sit and be still and be centered, and with the existence card, the trusting that we are whole and ordained and okay, is that all of that anxiety about not knowing what's going to happen is like a control thing that's really about fear and safety, and not feeling like we're like that. It makes us feel scared that we can't plan for and predict everything that's going to happen. The good news is we can't. Even if we're really anxious about it and overfunction, we still can't. So we might as well give ourselves permission to not be really anxious and not overfunction. And I think like just to keep returning back to, I really feel our daily practices, like if we're really returning to sitting with ourselves, meditating, tapping, whatever your daily pleasure practices are, whatever your daily like connection to your buddy or your friends, or the things that keep you grounded in like, I'm going to focus on what I can do right now today. And tomorrow I'm going to get up and do the same thing. So if I ever have panic or anxiety about, well, what's going to happen next? I can tell myself what's going to happen next is tomorrow I'm going to get up and do the same thing as I did today. I'm going to ground. I'm going to check in with myself. I'm going to be focused, and then I'm going to move the fuck forward. And like that, we're just going to keep doing that every day, and it's going to be fine. These small incremental actions are going to go somewhere good. And I don't have to know exactly where they're going to know that they're going to go somewhere good. And in the quad, that would be an aligned spirit issue, right? Like trusting that we're going to be okay, that we are held, that everything is happening through us and not to us, right? For us and not to us. And that if we can extend that much faith, just that much faith, that like everything is happening the way it's supposed to, and I'm going to be okay, and all I have to do is just show up today and do the best I can, that it's going to go somewhere good, even if I don't know where that is. But I'm not going to die or end up homeless. It's nice to just hold yourself out that trust that you're not going to die or end up homeless. Does that make sense? Does that feel good? Does that resonate? Yeah. Ooh, faith is hard. It is. And I just want to acknowledge for everyone in here, because I know us all a little bit, that faith is extra hard when you have had to handle everything for everybody in order to survive for a long time. And faith is hard when you have endured trauma. And faith is hard when you have been taught to count yourself out. But you ain't died yet. So you're probably not gonna for a while. You have managed to get this far and not drive your life off of a cliff. Well, and even if you have, like, the cliff hasn't been permanent. We've all gotten here. Only small cliffs. But yeah. I say this for myself as much as for anyone, because I know that's, I was teasing myself this week that like the process is called ask, believe, receive, not ask, stress the fuck out, and overfunction. And see, personally attacked. But right, like I think a lot of us do that. I'm like, so first I ask, I'm good at the asking part. I know exactly what I want and I can like meditate on it. And then I feel like I have to do all the things and then I have to stress the fuck out. And I'm like, no, those two are not the formula. I have to ask, I have to believe that it is already here, and then I have to chill the fuck out and let it come to me. And it's really hard to chill the fuck out and let it come to you if you are busy over functioning and stressing out. So my new joke for myself that I share with you: ask, believe, receive, not ask, over function, stress the fuck out. I love you guys so much. We have such a cool thing here. We're coming up on 6 months. So June's gonna be big. I know, like we're gonna do a check back in with where we started at the beginning of the year and see where we're at 6 months check in. And I'm pretty excited. Thank you for your, yes, I love all the dances. Anybody else have anything they want to share, ask, share, imbibe, and imbue before we go? Lauryn has one more.
Mostly just so that I don't fixate on this later, I just want to say that if I was the only one late, it's because I was having technical difficulties, so I apologize. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure, and I was like, is this me or okay?
No, I was late. I couldn't get Zoom to open. It was just spinning for a really long time.
Okay. Thank you, because later I will be fixated on that, and I don't need to be. So thank you.
You're absolved. It was me.
Thank you.
I was fashionably late to my own party.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm so glad. And thanks, everybody.
You're so welcome. All right. Good night, everyone. I love you.